On this issue of Fashion Classics, Fall 2004 is checkup time on a group of young designers who are helming some of Paris's biggest houses. See how Phoebe Philo has developed at Chloe. At Louis Vuitton, Marc Jacobs has been commercially and critically successful for many seasons now. In his third season at Rochas, Olivier Thayskins is developing a new fashion language. Find out what Giambattista Valli is up to at Emmanuel Ungaro. Albert Ebaz has finally found a happy home at Lanvin. Brazil launches yet another young beauty into the fashion world. And more next. In fall 2001, Emmanuel Ungaro came out on the runway with his young protege, Giambattista Valli, a designer who had been working by the master side for several years. Ungaro was graciously handing over the reins of the ready-to-wear house to the young Italian, who would remain for one more collection after this fall 2004 show, before going out on his own. Valli is credited with bringing fresh views to the house.
I get inspired a little bit on 18th century colors, atmosphere, sometimes some details from that period. And I want to try to reinterpret it like three portraits of three women of that moment. So there is like Dubarry, that is the first atmosphere, that it's a kind of bluey, purpley atmosphere, that she was the most cultivated, the most private. And then the second one is Marie Antoinette, with a kind of Trianon atmosphere, so more playful, more youngful, more delicate, more Trianon, but she brings it as a new fashion at Versailles. And the third one is Madame de Pompadour, that it's all like the red and fuchsia and incarnation colors, the most sexy, most passionate kind of side of the collection.
The boudoir look began backstage.
We're bringing the hair up to a bun here and then covering it with their hair and making it quite easy in texture. And we're not using brushes or combs, just our fingers. So mistakes are welcome.
The makeup today, it's very pure, it's very beautiful. It's a little smokiness on the outer corner of the eye. There is a liquid shine on the upper lid.
And I did even this story, very nice story about this underwear belt that comes on from the trousers, from the skirt, a little bit on the idea of, you know, the young kids on the street that have like underwear coming out, like Everlast underwear coming out. So, and actually the idea is to have something more sophisticated, like boudoir for young women. There is like a very sexy attitude, but it's like more romantic, because I think, you know, more beauty. I think we are going back to a real beauty and not an alternative beauty. No, that's more beautiful, more soigné, what we say in France. I want just to concentrate in each silhouette a concept, instead just to show dresses, to show more atmosphere. I mean, at the end, you know, what we start, yes, of course, it's the dresses, but before the dress, it's a precise style. It's just a message. Then everybody can interpret it in his way, but it's a message. It's the Emmanuel Ungaro message.
Not long after his premature ousting from Yves Saint Laurent, designer Albert Ebaz found himself at the helm of Lanvin. 2 years into his tenure for fall 2004, he had truly found his creative voice, which continues to this day.
You know, I have 3 assistants, and all 3 of them are girls, and all 3 of them are pregnant, and all 3 of them were home during these last 3 months. So I worked basically alone in this collection, and it was me, the mirror, and a fabric. I started more with a story that was a bit more masculine, and through the process of the collection I started to add the flowers, the tulle, the colors, and I end up understanding that women are really more about femininity and not about masculinity. Let the men be men, let women be women, and I think that women today are having such a life that I'm giving them an award, and that was that little decoration they go. The whole story was the fact that women today are moving on and they have a different needs, and I think that I'm trying to understand the need and I'm trying to work on desire. I'm combining between the two. So the desire is to be beautiful and glamorous and chic and elegant and sensual, but there is also a need. I mean, a need as a woman that has to work in the morning and has different functions, so we had to be smart about fashion today. I'm always asking myself what fascinates me about fashion, and it's maybe the fact that I'm working between two schools. I mean, I'm taking the old school of atelier, of know-how, of workmanship, of handwork, of working with a piece of fabric around the body and draping and understanding maybe the whole technique part. And at the same time, I'm also trying to work in the other school, which is the house of modernity. And we all ask ourselves, what is modern today? And this is a tough question or a tough answer, because for me, modernity, more I think about it, is comfort, is lightness, is easiness.
It's fantastic, amazing, one of the best shows of the season. Had all the themes of the season, romance, polish, ladylike, but done in such a cool way. And it's a very difficult collection to show because all of the dresses can be transformed. So on the runway, from one dress into 3 dresses, or the trains come down.
And the whole story was really like to understand why are women wearing this wardrobe, and it's this moment of intimacy, it's this moment of privacy, and that's what fashion for me is. So I'm going back to simplicity, to intimacy. That's where I'm at.
A cocktail party and trunk show at Bergdorf Goodman, her first in the U.S., gave Chloe designer Phoebe Philo a chance to actually enjoy the city for a change.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling, it's great to be here. It's great to be in New York. I don't come that often and do press stuff. We come and we shoot the campaigns, and I do a lot of work behind the scenes, but I don't do a lot of public stuff in New York. So it just feels great to be here. It's spring and I'm in New York and it's great.
In January 2007, Phoebe would choose to become a full-time mom, but for now she was halfway through her successful tenure at Chloe, having taken over from her friend Stella McCartney.
I think she's maturing, but in the best kind of a way. It's still young, but it's so pulled together and so polished. She really has given that essence of finding yourself in the clothes and expressing yourself.
With the holiday season behind them, Phoebe and her team worked swiftly to have their fall-winter collection finished.
Right from the beginning, from the day we got back from holiday, it was just like, let's just keep this really simple. So I kind of just tried keeping it that way all the way through and just not complicating things. And, it just evolved as the weeks went past. And it was what it was. I mean, there was no concept. I mean, all I can remember thinking was, let's just really keep this simple. We've only got 7 weeks. Let's just keep it feminine and beautiful and simple.
Backstage regulars at the Chloe shows are Phoebe's proud parents.
Because Phoebe, of course, is very modest about what she does and plays everything very quietly, very close to her chest.
Phoebe seems to have taken a leap. They look like very, very expensive clothes. But I just saw a dress that if you bought it, you would keep it all your life. You might get to my age, you couldn't fit into it, but you keep it because it was just so beautifully made.
It's just great to have them there. I think, you know, it's a really special thing for them to come, and it's wonderful for me too. I always love knowing that they're there in the audience, and I love hearing their opinion on the show as well. My dad particularly always gives really good feedback, which is funny. It's good.
Phoebe was pragmatic when it came to talking about her evening wear.
There was no big kind of like theory behind them. It was like, let's do some beautiful chiffon evening dresses because I really feel to wear one right now. So did some sketches, gave it to my chief atelier. 2 weeks later, she showed me a sample, and we were like, okay, good, all right. Yeah, let's do that one in pink, that one in green, and that one in blue. But I think about myself when I'm designing, and I'm just, you know, a regular girl who wants to look good too. So, you know, I think I very much think that way when I am designing. And I don't like it to be too much about fantasy and for it to be about this kind of woman that you can't quite touch.
Fall 2004 marked the halfway point of the brilliant creative tenure of young Belgian designer Olivier Thijskens at Rochas. We caught up with him backstage.
Yeah, and you have to not stress too much to check. Sometimes there are really little things. It's very couture collection in a way, and there are many details, and sometimes it may happen that at a fitting we didn't check a little thing, or so I'm more time observing. But I had not to do many things.
Well, it still is an ethereal, kind of beautiful, lady-like woman, and we wanted to just add a little bit more glamour, and he did these really cool metallic shoes in all these different colors, including copper, so we thought it would be nice to bring some of that into the makeup as well.
I'm doing very small head, I'm doing a tiny French twist, and some waves. It's very Madame Rochas, but today. And we have this kind of brown color in the hair.
Thijskens has managed to make couture fabrics and detailing relevant for a whole new generation. But his unusual fashion language went unappreciated by owners Procter & Gamble, who abruptly closed the house in July 2006.
I think what he's doing at Rochas is incredible. He's taking elements from the very beginning of when he was doing Rochas and he's playing around with them. Like, it doesn't change around every single season. So now we have a few seasons under our belt with him, and it's just his subtleness of color.
This season I wanted to explore more of the fluid, the sensual, to bring that. The blues, the poor little roses fading, all these little things. But we worked a lot, many tailored things our own way. Also the technical clothes that are very like shaped and using very strange fabric, like very actual new fabrics that are not used sometimes for the pret-à-porter that we can find in. And I think it has to be very contemporary and very true to Rochas. Many jackets were also showed open. It was a loosey attitude, coming a bit more into the Rochas look. And also many blues has large, really soft silk back, and I think it's very elegant when you walk. It's very elegant to wear that, and I think it's very true to Rochas, very sensual. What I think I am, my position into the Rochas story, like a hinge between the past and future, and yeah, the butterflies were there to express the possibility to change look, like little butterflies were closing themselves and opening again in big morpho and again, and a little brown one. So, but it was not the theme of the collection, just to give more colors, to give a fragile feeling and to decorate. Rochas' name is very inspiring for that. Rochas is a very strong name for classy elegance, evening beauty, taste, and it's very interesting for me to work all these.
Brazil is a huge country, and there's a lot of mix of cultures. Like, there's a tour around the world, you know. Brazil, you can find everything, And it's the mix. I think that's the secret is the mix.
And here, we thought it was just something in the water. Then newcomer Raquel Zimmerman, as predicted in this first cover profile, has become the latest in a long line of Brazilian beauties making a mark on the fashion map.
I grew up in the south of Brazil in a town called New Hamburg. It's cool because it has this European feeling, you know, in the south of Brazil, but it's still being Brazil. And the summer is really hot, you go to the beach, and it's quite nice. So a lot of people are already telling me, like, oh, you should be a model, you should be a model. And when you're a teenager, you're like, that's nice. And that's how I was. And then when they asked me, I was like, sure. When I started, Giselle was just exploding everywhere. But when I started, the girl I was looking up to was Shirley Malman. And she's from the south, she's very close to my town. So I was like, wow, Shirley. She's such a great girl. I like her very much. I used to play basketball before modeling, but not anymore. Now I do walks in the park when I can and try to breathe some fresh air and swim in the beach when I go to Brazil.
Being a native of Brazil and traveling the world, naturally, Raquel has picked up a few language skills along the way.
Portuguese and then Spanish, because it's very similar, and Italian and English. No German. My parents do, and they always wanted to teach me, and I thought, I'm never going to use German. Now I wish I had learned, because so many people in the business use German. And I'm trying the French, but the accent is kind of hard.
Known till now primarily for its fragrance, the Parisian house of Nina Ricci was headed up by Lars Nielsen until Thayskins replaced him in 2006. At this fall 2004 show, Nielsen is fully engaged in his work. Before the show, Nielsen made himself useful.
The starting point is a lot of mixed together. I work a lot on the colors and on the cuts. We work a lot on the canvas and really taking the shape of each garment. And it starts and it really moves forwards during the collection. But I think the starting point was really something cozy, something warm, something that was a femininity but still a winter way of showing it.
We're doing a smoky eye, not too heavy around the eye, just more smoke on the top, and then a lighter colour underneath, quite glossy and shiny, with a rosy cheek and a rosy lip as well, with gloss on. And the hair, you know, is quite loose and fluffy.
It was a lot about a little bit high-waisted in the cuts on the coats and also the capelets or the capes. It was a theme in the collection. I worked a lot with the colors, very like soft tones, the blue-gray, the powder pink, but trying to keep the softness in the fur, but also bringing in a little bit extra with the color. I'm trying to work it as a collection and work it also in what I think is right for Nina Ricci now, and how I see a girl dressing today in Nina Ricci. And I show that today by, maybe it's not a total look, it's a mismatch maybe with the skirt and the top. It's how a girl would wear it her way, and bringing in like the feminine elements like the lingerie, the lace, and making it quite soft for the girl to wear. I love the embellishment and I love embroideries, but as maybe you noticed, there's no long evening dresses. I like to do them short, maybe easier to wear, maybe lighter. I think it's evening doesn't really need to be long. I think it could be a shorter length, and that was a little bit the idea of the collection too. It's been a great experience. I'm very, very happy, and it's been going really, really well. So this was the second show. where we continued the theme of the lingerie. I wanted to work a lot on the softness, but taking it a step further to the coats, to the jackets with the soft shoulders, bringing femininity, but in my way.
When Marc Jacobs took the helm at Louis Vuitton in 1997, his task was not just to breathe life into an old house, but to actually create a ready-to-wear line where one did not already exist. And that's what Marc has done in his years at the house. But even he acknowledges that he does not work alone, especially when it came to this Scottish story for fall 2004.
It's just a kind of evolution. I mean, everybody sort of does their thing and comes together. Everybody makes a contribution to the whole in some way.
The team effort continued backstage, where beauty looks were Bronte-inspired, wild and windswept.
That is really kind of beautifully kind of coutured, hard fronts. If you look at Isabelle there, and really sexy, full, wild, savage back. And what a look it is. And it's going to look great. Marc's really not a big fan of a hairdo. This is definitely a hairdo.
I love tartans. I love it as a pattern. I love the colors. I love the idea of a romantic winter. I love the idea of, looking at bows.